Welcome to the AVAIL podcast, where we dig deep and talk about the art of leadership. My name is Virgil Sierra, and today we're sitting down with Tim Harrell Sr. Tim is a motivational leadership expert, a business accelerator, a CEO, a coach and consultant, and the pastor of Rebirth Community Church. In this episode, Tim will share some of his personal leadership story. He'll touch on others-driven leadership, and he'll also share about his book, The Language of a Next Level Leader, Discovering the Leader in You. So lean in, leaders, and let's get started. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the AVAIL podcast, where we talk about the art of leadership. I got my background music going. We got our guests going. We have the best Christian leaders on this podcast. Today, we have none other than Tim Harrell Sr. Pastor Tim, it's so good to have you on the AVAIL podcast. How you feeling, brother?
I'm feeling great, man. And it's an honor to be a part of what God is doing at AVAIL and to be on the podcast. Yes, absolutely.
Oh, man. Hey, this is going to be a fun conversation. I just want to let the audience know, Tim and I have been blessed to connect on various leadership retreats with Dr. Sam Chand and man, just great company. Yes. Tim, I'm looking forward to unpacking this leadership conversation. We're going to talk a little bit about a book that you wrote and just what's on your heart as a leader. Before we jump into that, can you share a little bit with our AVAIL audience? Who is Tim Harrell Sr.?
Well, Tim Harrell Sr. is a great guy, and as you can see, a good-looking guy as well.
Yeah.
But I'm just kidding. Tim Harrell is just a passionate man about what he loves to do. I'm a man who loves one wife of 39 years, and God definitely has blessed our relationship. I have 3 kids, 5 grandkids, pastor church, own several businesses, and God has just really blessed me, and I'm so humbled to be used by God, and so I just love to have fun. I love people. I love adding value to people. One of the things that I'm passionate about is being others driven. Really looking at what Jesus did when he came here and walked the earth for 33 years. He added value. He was others driven. And I take that thought from Philippians chapter 2, when it talks about that I should have others' interests at heart more so than myself. And so I just believe that, and God has really blessed me to have a lot of influence and impact in the lives of others.
Yeah, I love that. One of the things I admire about you, Tim, is that you're a multifaceted leader. You're a great leader in business and organizational leadership, but you're also a great leader in the kingdom, in the church. And I think some people can be strong at one or the other, but not all are able to do both at such a high level. And I think that this conversation is going to be very enriching for all of us leaders to lean into because of that. I want to, before we talk a little bit about your book, The Language of a Next Level Leader, I want to tap into what you just mentioned a few moments ago, that others-driven leadership is kind of your core, right? I forgot how you worded it, but it's kind of like at the heart. Unpack that a little bit, the others-driven leadership.
Well, one of the things also I want to mention that this is the culture of our church. So we I'm telling you, we live this, we practice this, we announce this all the time when we assemble ourselves together. I believe that you have to see value in people. And John Maxwell talks about this a lot, about adding value. But I also believe that you have to become value to add value. And if you, like me, you look for opportunities to be a blessing to people. I just want to see people prosper and do well and be the best that they can be. That is my desire. So whenever I enter into a relationship with someone, I don't look for what I could get, but I look for what I can deposit into their life and to make them better. I want them to be better because they came into my presence. And I don't want them to be worse off because they came into my presence, but I want them to be better. And so that really drives me. So every day I look for opportunities to add value, to be others driven, to put someone else's interests at heart before mine, and to help them further their vision, their dreams, their agenda on. And if I could be a blessing to help facilitate that, uh, that's what I get the joy out of. And
Mm,
just to mention, my second book that I'm writing is entitled "Living the Amazing Life." Living
mm.
the amazing life is not all about possessions or your acronyms behind your name or your title before your name. It's about helping others succeed in life. When you help others succeed in life, you're living an amazing life. Absolutely.
I love that. I want to get, Tim, you and I are friends, and I think you're one of those leaders that
Mm,
leads with openness and vulnerability.
yes.
I want to get some personal here. Others driven leadership is not necessarily what you see out there often. It's not
Right.
often modeled or seen. I'm curious, did you receive this? Because a lot of times we learn it
Hmm.
from the Lord, we learn it by
Right.
grace. Did you see others driven leadership modeled for you and you said, hey, I want to follow that? Or was it like, I didn't see this, but later in life I started learning it? How did this come? Because you walk with us and you embrace it,
Mm.
but where did that come from in your life?
I think I believe it came from the day I accepted Christ into my heart.
All right.
Um, in my book, I talk about detox to destiny. When I gave my life to Christ, Virgil, I was in a detox center.
Wow.
I was fighting, battling with a crack cocaine addiction, and
Wow.
I ended up at the detox center, and I had been on like a 2 week binge,
Mm.
and I got there, and I was sitting on the side of the bed, and there was a Gideon Bible um, on the nightstand, and I picked it up, and it went to Matthew 6:33. But seek ye first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and everything else shall be added unto you. And so, after getting out of the detox center, there was a Christian couple that just embraced me. They embraced me. They didn't know if I, could have had a relapse, or because when you're in that type of addiction, you would do anything to get your next fix.
Yeah.
But they embraced me. They accepted me in their home. They ministered to me. They prayed for me. They gave me a job, and I just believe in the condition I was in or coming out of, they showed me what others driven is like, being
Wow.
others driven, by accepting me and helping me. And I believe, Virgil, if it was not for that couple, if God had not used that couple, I don't know where I would be today.
Wow.
I don't know where I would be. And this was in 1991, 32 years ago. And from that point, because that couple was others driven with me, um, I've been running for Christ ever since.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
We give out of what we receive, and this who
yeah.
that if that couple only would have known then who they were
Mm.
pouring into and the
Wow,
man that you were
wow,
like, I mean, really, we don't know who
wow.
we're pouring into when we're
Right.
leading somebody or
Mm.
ministering to somebody or encouraging somebody. We have no idea who that person's going to be in 32 years, and
Absolutely.
you're a living testimony to that. So
Yes.
everybody, right now, we're alluding to Tim Harrell Sr.'s book, The Language of a Next Level Leader. Discovering the leader in you. This is I want to tap into this a little bit, and also just your
Hmm.
heart.
Mm.
When you wrote this book, I know you had something in your heart,
Mm.
and this whole others driven leadership is kind of exudes out of you. Now you mentioned to me there's a few chapters that kind of stick out to you. You
Mm.
mentioned Know the Code. Can we talk a
Yeah.
little bit about that? What's Know the Code?
No, the code is surrounded around honor. It talks about John Mark when he was traveling with Paul and Barnabas, and he walked away from his commitment. And we said, failure to keep your commitment is an act of dishonor.
Hmm,
And one of the things that I believe, Virgil, if I tell you that I'm going to do something for you, I got to do it.
come
I,
on.
I just I just believe that that's what leaders do. We honor our commitment, and even if we cannot fulfill the commitment, say something.
Mm,
Just don't. One of the things I talk about a lot, Virgil, is ministry courtesy or leadership courtesy.
uh-huh.
I think that we don't have that among leaders. We just kind of brush leaders off, or we don't value leaders enough to extend some courtesy to them when you can't do something. And so, know the code is about honor. Is about you as a leader keeping your commitment no matter what. Because I believe that when you lose, or if you don't keep your commitment, you lose trust. in those that follow you. And you know, Virgil, because you're a leader too. Once you lose trust, it's hard to get it back. And so I really want to honor the people that I lead by keeping my commitment as a leader.
Yeah, that's good. I've heard this statement. You probably heard it, that we gain trust in drops, but we
Oh,
lose it in buckets.
yes, yes,
And so
absolutely.
as I want to delve a little more, because you're making a connection between commitment and honor, right? Like honor, and
Hmm.
part of being an honorable person is I'm keeping my commitments.
Hmm.
I'm what I say I'm going to do, I do. And then even the whole concept of ministry
Hmm.
courtesy, leadership courtesy. Can you give us an example of that? Just how that might look like, whether it's in the church world or in the business, in the corporate world. Give us an example of what ministry or leadership courtesy looks like, whether it's from leadership to staff, or from people that are under to the people above them.
I think that a simple example. If you're gonna be late, okay, just because you're the leader doesn't mean you get to show up when you want to.
Right.
And everybody's there waiting for you, and you just kind of do a grand entry because you're the leader. It's not about the leader. It's about those who you influence and those who follow you. And that is my mindset when I lead. It's not about me. And I preach that to myself because I can get in, I can get caught up in myself. And
Yeah.
and John Maxwell said one time, get over yourself. And every day I have to get over myself
Hmm.
because I want to make sure that I'm leading people. So just a courtesy call. I'm
Yeah.
running late. Please forgive me. A lot of times as leaders, Virgil, hey doc, we got to get together. I'm gonna call you, doc, and no courtesy there because we're pretty much lying to each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
We know we're not going to get together and things like that. And just a simple example of ministry courtesy. I just think that even when someone, for example, here's another one. When
Hmm.
someone leaves your church and goes to another pastor's church,
Hmm.
I think
Ooh.
that picking up the phone, and calling that pastor and say, hey, I have a person at your church, here at my church, that was attending your church. Are you okay with that? Is there
Mm.
any issues or problems that I need to look out for? And I think that just a simple call is
Yeah.
courtesy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that not many go that route.
yeah.
I think as you're talking, so many examples come to my mind, but we need to pay attention to this aspect of honor.
Mm,
And also, you mentioned that when you abandon your post, that
mhm.
really is dishonor.
Yeah.
I can't
Mm,
help but think, um, how this can happen even in ministry, right? and
yes.
and and it might seem like not a big deal, but talk to me a little bit about that. Have you ever experienced, can you remember a time, or an example when somebody abandoning their posts really had a negative impact on the ministry or the
Oh
business?
yes.
Can
Oh
you
yeah.
share one of those so we can cry together?
You're right. Yes. Um, one thing about me, Virgil, I give so much of myself when I'm entering into a relationship with people,
Uh-huh.
and I extend trust first. Some people don't extend trust until they get to know you, but
Right.
I'm the type of guy I extend trust. I give it to you until you
Hmm.
until you show me that you're not trustworthy. Um, but there's been situations where I have my core leadership team. I remember back in 2010, our church was flourishing. We had two locations, and we had one of our elders who didn't like a decision I made,
Hmm.
and he began to. I was reading and listening to a book that Dr. Chan wrote, Bigger and Faster Leadership. And
Yep.
he talks about the mosquito, and this guy was a big old mosquito,
Oh my
and he
goodness.
started biting people, and before you know it, the church fell apart.
Wow.
And get this right, we done been through a lot. My wife and I, we became homeless just
Wow.
overnight because we were full time in ministry. Our salaries came from the ministry. Our benefits, everything came from the
Wow.
ministry. And when the church fell apart because of this leader, it caused us to lose a lot. We ended up losing our first home, and it was we ended up at extended stay hotel.
Wow.
It was crazy, and that's an example of leaders who abandon their posts, because when you abandon your
Yeah.
post, you really don't know the impact that it has,
Hmm.
not just with you, but with others who are in that situation. And it really impacted a lot of people in our church. And but God is faithful,
Yeah.
and God has God didn't restore, because my wife prayed and said, we don't want anything that the devil took.
Right.
We don't want, he can have it all. We want all new stuff, and God gave us all new stuff.
Ah, my goodness. My goodness.
Yeah.
I think this is great. You just made me think of a question. Okay.
Mm.
I want to ask you a question. Okay. And I want, let's start with church, because we're talking about church, right? And
Mhm.
pastoring.
Right, right.
What's something you wish you would have known before you
Wow.
started pastoring? And then I want you to, touch on that. And then
Okay.
on the other side, what's something you wish you would have known before being a business owner, and an entrepreneur? So let's start with church. What's something you wish you would have known,
Mm.
the young Tim, that you wish you had known before you started pastoring about pastoring? Are you ready to take your leadership to the next level? AVAIL is excited to announce that for a limited time, you can get a free 6-month trial subscription to the AVAIL Journal. The AVAIL Journal was created to equip and empower leaders with everything they need to excel. Read quarterly issues and pick up leadership wisdom from high-impact leaders like Sam Chand, John Maxwell, Tim Tebow, and dozens more. Take the first step in becoming a more effective leader. Sign up for your free 6-month trial subscription to the AVAIL Journal by visiting availjournal.com.
To be honest, Virgil, I don't think that I wish I would have known anything. I wish, well, one of the things I wish I had a coach in the
Okay.
beginning.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I had a coach. I think that every pastor, every business leader needs a coach. I don't care how successful you are, how well you're doing, you still need a coach. And
Mm-hmm.
but now where I'm at now and the success I have, and all the blessings that I experience, I don't, I didn't like going through that process. I didn't like going through that process. It was a painful process going through some of the things that I experienced in ministry. But one of the things that the Lord shared with me when I was going through my pain in ministry
Yeah.
was, He said, "Do not allow people who hurt you change you."
Come on.
And He took me to the life of Joseph, and He said that Joseph's brothers betrayed him, but it did not change him.
Wow.
And because it did not change him, he was able to be second in command over all of Egypt, and he was able to save a nation. And so that really helped me with my process.
Yeah.
But I don't think that I would want anything in the beginning of it. I I didn't like the process, but I really understand now that it was necessary for me to go through what
Mm-hmm.
I went through. One of the pastor friends of mine, he came to my church when we were going through, and he spoke a word to me, which I didn't want to hear, but he said it had to happen.
Ouch.
Yeah, it had to happen.
Yeah.
And now I understand why it had to happen,
Yeah.
because God has me in this season of my life that I am enjoying. I'm loving this. My God, man, it's awesome.
I love that. I hear you, and it resonates with me, the fact that we have to go through some things. It's part of our
Right,
growth. It's part of our
right,
journey.
right. Hmm.
As I'm asking you, I was thinking about myself, and I'm thinking, one of the things I wish I would have known is that not everybody who's with me is going to stay with me. Because
Right, right.
I kind of thought,
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
hey,
That's a good one. That's a
aren't you
good
going
one.
to be with
Yeah.
me forever? I thought you were
Yeah.
going to be. Apparently, that's not in everybody's plans.
That,
But I
but
like
that,
what
but that's a good one though. That was
yeah,
that, because I had the same thinking.
yeah,
I had the same thinking that people come in, they say, oh, you know how they say, well, Pastor, I'm not going anywhere. We love you, Pastor. So I'm naive, green, man. I'm
yeah,
excited. man, that devastated me.
If people
And
only knew.
people only knew, yeah. But you have to let them go. You
Yeah.
know, you have to let people go. There was a couple who was with us who was a part of the foundation of what we did, what we were doing at that time, and
Yeah.
how we grew. And when they left, man, it was devastating. It took me a minute not to. It took me a minute to get them out of my spirit.
Yeah.
You know, they were so attached to me, and
Yeah.
so that was a pretty tough time in ministry.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Yeah.
true. There's a lot, a lot of times people think, when they think of leaders, they think, "Oh, yeah, that, how great to lead, how
Mm,
great to have these recognition and all this." But everybody
yeah.
doesn't always see the behind the scenes. They don't always
Yeah.
know
Mm,
the hurt and the pain. I think, our friend Dr. Sam Chan talks about bleedership.
mm.
If you're not bleeding, you're not leading, and that is so true.
Right.
And
Right.
I know, Tim, I know you, with your years of leading have been through, and that's why you can speak. I think that's why your
Mm,
voice is important. I think that's why your
mm,
book is helpful, and I think
mm,
that's why your journey and your experience is going to help a lot of people. I want to transition a little bit into another one of
mm,
the chapters that you specifically like to talk about, which is seasonal transitions. A lot of times,
mm.
especially young leaders, um, don't learn so much of this area of understanding seasons and understanding transitions.
Yes. Mm,
Even as I think of the old guard, people like my
mm,
father, who was the
mm.
the founding pastor of our church, and he
Mm.
didn't have a lot of models in the Spanish speaking world of
Right.
people doing
Mm,
transitions well and right. Talk to us
mm.
a little bit about seasonal transitions.
Well, seasonal transition, it talks about transitioning from one season to the next, that you cannot really make a proper transition without completing the old season. And what I mean by that, completing the old season, is really getting everything that you need in that season. That is the power of a completed season, getting
Mm,
everything that you need, because you take that power into your new season. For
hmm.
example, I had a hard time managing my money. I was in this season, man. This season was so bad.
Wow.
I couldn't keep two nickels rubbing together. You know the old saying, my money is funny, my change is strange, and my credit wouldn't get it. That was a season I was in. you know, and I really learned from that season. And also what I did was I made my mind up that I'm going to change the way I manage my money. And so
Mm,
when I transitioned just into a new season, I took the information I learned in the old season and I used it in the new season. And that's what people really don't understand or fail to miss, is that
right.
that old season is just important as the new season, and you need to take that information. I also talk about how that time or seasons are looking for a time in your life to enter into your life. There's,
Hmm.
is, like what Ecclesiastes says, a season, comma, a time. So you
Hmm.
cannot have a season without a time. And that season is looking for a time to enter into to your life. I also talk about you determine how long the season lasts. If you got, I was sharing with our church. I told the women in our church, if you have an abusive a man in your life, you can end that season today.
Right.
By so
Right.
there's some seasons we can really end, but we don't have the information and the knowledge from past experience. Also talk about this, that I talk about convergency. In
Hmm.
one of our tracks, we dealt with convergency. I believe it was when we dealt with Dr. Sam Chan
Hmm.
track, and I think the third
Yeah.
or fourth chart. And I learned so much from that track about who I was, and I began to look at my different seasons of my life, and I looked at it from a Netflix series. You can have a Netflix series that has 5 seasons, but it can have 10 to 12 to 20 episodes.
Episodes.
So yeah, so I begin to look at the seasons, and I begin to look at the different episodes in my life, and I noticed that all of my seasons and episodes were intertwined. it was a pattern there,
Yeah,
and it gave me a sense of understanding who I was and the purpose and who God created me to be.
that's good.
Just going back, looking over the old seasons of my life, and now as I enter into this new season, I enter this new season with a mindset that I of stuff that I learned from my old season. So yeah, so that helps me to transition into the season properly,
Yeah,
and that is what we need to do as leaders, because I got to get what I need to get in this season. So I need to
that's so
make
good.
sure I'm ready for it. Yeah. So
That's so good. I love this. I love this, Tim, because man, all of your seasons and episodes of your Netflix
right, right.
life, you're benefiting from being able to review that. But the truth is, by writing a book, by being on a podcast like this,
Mm,
by doing your leadership consulting and coaching,
mhm.
right? What you're doing is you're now doing others driven leadership. Now you're
Yes,
allowing your life to help others. So I have a
yes,
question based on that. Um, who would you say are maybe two or three people who who you feel have been most influential to you? Because again, I think you're that pastor for a lot of people.
right.
You're that
Mm,
leader for a lot of um, business owners and um, leaders, right? And so
mm,
my question to you is, as you look back through the episodes and seasons of
mm.
your life, who are two or three people that stand out, just who and why that really
Yeah,
influenced you?
I would say first my father. My father, he led me to Christ. I didn't, you know, get saved in a church, or my
Hmm.
dad got saved. He came home. He shared the gospel with his family, and he led us to
Wow.
Christ. And so my father was helped me to understand who Christ was, and
Mm,
who Christ is in my life. And of course, when I got older, I got away from it. So when I was a kid, I was introduced to Christ. When I got
wow.
older, I got away from it, ended up in a detox center, and really committed my life to Christ in a
Mm,
detox center. But I was first introduced to Christ through my father.
good.
So, and I also would say Dr. Chan is definitely one of the ones who have really impacted my life, influenced my life. Um, when I look at Dr. Chan, I look at I don't look so much, of course, the teaching and his
Sure.
books and all of that stuff, but I look at his character, I look at his life, I look at, I discern so much, so many different great qualities about
Yeah.
him. He's an amazing man. He gets behind his table, and he have his little notes, and he teaches, and he pours into us.
Yeah.
But I look beyond that, and I see a great man of God who loves his family, who's a man of integrity, a man of honor, a man who would give his heart to you, and
Yeah.
he has tremendously helped me in so many areas of my life. And also, of course, I follow John Maxwell. He's another leadership guru that I
Yep.
follow. Haven't spent as much time with him as I have with Dr. Chan. Of course, I
Sure.
have the opportunity to meet Dr. Maxwell, but he was another influencer in my life. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that's good. So,
Hmm.
some of the mentors that we have are up close and personal.
Yeah.
Some of them
Hmm.
might be a little bit more at a distance, but
Yeah.
man, their
Hmm.
message hits you. And some of
Yeah.
them are family, like you mentioned, like your father.
Yeah.
I love
Hmm.
that. I love hearing that, because we can never forget that the reason we are where we are is because some people went ahead of us, and
Right.
some people motivated
Hmm.
us and encouraged us. Um, you know, I I really appreciate leadership conversations like this, where we can kind of talk leadership, but also talk
Hmm.
life.
Right.
And
Hmm.
y- y- as even for example, you write your book, right? The
Hmm.
language of a next level leader, discovering the leader in you. You're working on an upcoming book as well.
Hmm.
You're leading. You mentioned earlier that one thing that you wish you would have had, early on when you first started in ministry and leading, was a coach.
Hmm.
um, that's kind of connected to what we're talking about. What difference does a coach make? For example, for someone who's beginning in ministry and pastoral ministry,
Right.
how does a coach help a pastor?
First of all, I believe that the coach will help a pastor is really, you know, a lot of times we jump in ministry, we really don't know what we're getting into, and of course we don't. There's no university, no seminary, no Bible college that can teach you how to pastor. Now, what's going to teach you how to pastor is the people that you pastor. They're going to teach you how to pastor for real.
Yep.
so, 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 but having a coach will help you with you,
Yeah.
not so much your ministry, not so much your vision, but with you. And a lot of times we step into these places of ministry without even really knowing who we are. You know,
Hmm.
we don't even know how to lead ourselves, and we're trying to lead people. And I
Yeah.
think a coach in the beginning of any pastor's ministry, if God had called a pastor to pastor church, and you believe that calling is on your life, my advice to you is to get a coach to help
Yeah.
to pull out what's inside of you. One of the things that I've learned through coaching, or coaching has helped me. My first coach, and I know Bishop Macbeth.
Yes.
Bishop Macbeth was my coach for about a year and a half, and he helped me to see that I was more than one dimensional. He helped me to see that I was a multi-dimensional person,
Wow.
and there's so many different facets about Tim Harrell. I'm not just a pastor. I'm not just a father. I'm not just a husband. I'm a business owner. I'm a consultant. I'm a coach.
That's good.
I'm so many different things that I didn't know I was. I didn't know I even had in me until I hired a coach. And so I think that a pastor, if a pastor starting a ministry, he hires a coach before he gets started. I think he would be better off. I think he would even he would experience success a lot faster than some of us.
That's a good one. You know,
Hmm.
when you have somebody who's coaching you, they're going to help you become the best you can be. And
Yeah.
you might,
Hmm.
instead of having to wait 5 years to go through all those issues to learn
Right.
the lesson, I can
Right.
do it in 1 year because I have somebody who's helping me along the journey. That's good.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. All right. So I want to do a little bit of kind of a lightning round questions with you before we get people to connect with you and all that.
Okay. Okay.
Are you ready? Are you ready for
I'm
some
ready. I'm ready. Let
lightning
me
round?
brace myself. Let me brace myself.
Some of these are kind of easy and quick, but
Okay.
so here's kind of like a resource one, right? What's
Okay.
a resource that's helping you right now, whether it's an app, an online platform, a book? What's a resource that's helping you right now? Just real
And I don't.
quick.
I don't mean. I don't. Big and faster leadership. That's helping me, man.
That bigger, faster leadership, Dr. Sam Chan.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes,
Absolutely.
thank you, Lord, for the Panama Canal and giving Sam
Yes.
Chan a
Yes.
vision.
That's powerful book. I had Dr. Chan sign it when we was in Mexico, and
Uh-huh,
I
uh-huh.
told him, I said, Dr. Chan, this is your masterpiece to me.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I agree. I agree. All right. All right. Is there a ministry or a church that's inspiring you that you're learning from right now?
Bishop Jakes,
Bishop Jakes. Excellent.
Potter's
Is
House.
there is there on the business side, is there a business or an organization that you're learning from right now?
Yes. It's called Entrepreneur Organization.
All right. All right.
Hmm.
Good. Good.
Hmm.
What makes you laugh?
Uh, a good joke.
Do you have one? Do you have a good joke appropriate
I
for
don't
this
have a
time?
good joke. I don't have
All
a
right. All
good
right. Well, I'll let you off the hook. All right.
joke.
All right. What do you enjoy doing with your family?
Traveling.
All right. All right.
Hmm.
I know a big birthday's coming up.
Yes, yes, absolutely. I'm excited. I'm
All
excited.
right. Very good. All right. Okay. Now let's get a little serious now.
Okay.
What breaks your heart?
To see people defeated in their Christian experience.
Mm,
Hmm. Hmm.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. What
Hmm.
what what concerns you a little bit about the future?
Our young people. Our young
Okay.
people.
What what excites you or encourages you about the future?
The opportunities that we have. I just believe that God has called us as the body of Christ to be the
Mm,
solution to all the problems that this world experiences.
That's good. That's good. All right, lightning round over. You can take a deep breath. You made it through. That was good.
All right.
Tim, how can people connect with you if they want to find out more about you or follow you? What are the best ways for them to connect with you?
I'm all over social media. I have Facebook page, Tim Harrell Senior, that leads to several other pages like Next Level Coaching and Consulting, Tim Harrell Global Leadership, Rebirth Church, Environmental Building Services. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, have
Beautiful.
YouTube channels. I have 3 YouTube channels. So they can connect with me. Next Level Coaching and Consulting, Tim Harrell Global Leadership, and Rebirth Church all have YouTube channels.
That's awesome. Everybody, Tim Harrell, Harrell is with a double R and a double L. Tim Harrell Senior. You can check that out. I want to mention this, Tim, because I know you appreciate good resources for leaders. The AVAIL Journal.
Absolutely.
This is one of, as far as I'm concerned, it's the best Christian magazine out there right now.
It is.
It has a variety of voices, multicultural, multi-generational leadership, Christian leadership. Have you held one of these? Have you enjoyed one of these before?
Yes, I get them all. I get them every month. And check this out. The first issue, I think the first issue had the picture of Dr. Chan on it.
Yeah.
I had, my book had a full page ad in the first issue of AVAIL.
That's right. You were in that one.
Yes.
You were in
absolutely.
that one. That's awesome. Hey, listeners and viewers, if you haven't done so, you can go to availjournal.com. You can get a free annual subscription on us. First year's on us. Availjournal.com. We want to help you in your leadership journey. Great resources there. Tim, man, this has been so good. Before we go, what's one final thought just from your heart you want to leave with leaders?
I would encourage all leaders to always add value to people and be others driven as often as you can. People are hurting. People need good leadership. People want to be led. And we, like Jesus told his disciples, we are the salt of the earth. We are the light of the world. We are the solution.
Woo! Good word. I love it. Tim, on behalf of Dr. Chand, Martijn van Tilburg, the AVAIL team, we just want to say we honor you, brother. We're thankful for your leadership, both in ministry and in the marketplace. Man, you're leading, you're coaching, you're pastoring. Man, the Lord is using you in powerful ways. We really are proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you. And I'm so honored to be connected to you guys, man. When Dr. Chan told me that, I was a part of the tribe, I could have started crying. He said, come on, you're part of this tribe. And I was like, wow.
Yeah. Hey, you're a blessed man. And we pray that the Lord will continue to guide you in all of your leadership endeavors and your family as well. Yeah. Thanks for an awesome talk. Hey, AVAIL audience, thanks for connecting with us. As always, I'm your host, Virgil Sierra, lead pastor of Vertical Church, aka Iglesia Vertical in South Florida. We are one church, 2 languages. And I'm your host for the AVAIL podcast. Every week, there's a hot new episode coming out where we talk about life and we talk about the art of leadership. Catch you next time right here on the AVAIL podcast. Thank you for joining us for this episode of the AVAIL podcast with our guest, Tim Harrell Sr. You can find out more about Tim on social media and by going to thgl757.org. For more leadership resources, check us out at theartofleadership.com. And make sure to claim your free annual subscription of the AVAIL Journal at availjournal.com. As always, I'm your AVAIL host, Virgil Sierra. Muchas gracias. Thank you for connecting with us to learn the art of leadership here at the AVAIL podcast.